Gedolim from the Svardim. Instead of rabbis, they call them Chachamim, which means smart people. And then he has pictures of rabbis. And then I said to him, Eifa Rebbe min Ladbot min Chabad. So the man says, oh, don't worry. He takes out his phone, opens it up, shows a picture of himself at the Ohel. And so he says, I go every year, I go to Queens. And I said, oh, that's great. That's really nice. And then he's not wearing a kippah. So, of course, I have to be Chabad style. I said, did you put on tefillin today? And he said, yes, I did. He pulls up his sleeve and he goes through the marks. So he said, I do everything, but I'm not wearing a kippah. I said, okay, that's okay. So then he says, you know, there's only one thing I really want. I said, what's that? He said, I would love, love, love to get $1 of the Rebbe's dollars. And I don't know how to get it. So I said, you know, I'm going home, go back to America, I'm coming back in a month. So actually, my husband had some dollars from the Rebbe. I'll take one with me and I'll bring it to you. He said, you would, I'll give you anything for it. I said, no, that would be just my mitzvah to do. And he gets all excited. He takes the police report, he turns it over, he writes his cell number on it, and he writes his name on it, and he says, so when you come back, you'll know how to contact me and you'll get to me. I said, okay, all right, fine. So I come back home, and I call an insurance adjuster to come and check out that I was really robbed. So the insurance adjuster comes, and then a man is coming to fix it. Then the insurance adjuster looks at my report, and he says, Zelo Tov, this is not good. I said, what do you mean it's not good? It has a seal on it, it says on it, it's a police report. He says, yeah, but he didn't put down exactly what was stolen. So you're telling me what you lost, but it's not in the police report. So this is not gonna work. I said, so what am I supposed to do now? He says, well, the way you went and got the report before, go back again and tell them to fill in all the information. I said, you know, I am leaving in a few hours. When they messed up my apartment, I had my suitcase all neatly packed. They unpacked everything. Everything was on the floor. So like, you know, hours are going and I have to leave. I said, this is not good. This is not good. He says, well, that's how it has to be done. I said, wait a minute. I know the policeman. He says, you know the policeman? You know how many policemen are in Yerushalayim? I said, no, I know this policeman. I have his phone number. I have his cell number. He says, for real? I said, yeah, watch this. So I called him up and I said, remember, I was just in and I spoke to you? And he said, sure. And I said, well, the police report was not complete enough. Can you help me with it? And I got the two of them together, and he was going to fax the paper in, and they were going to fax the paper back. And all of that because I did a mitzvah. So that was my reason for telling the story.
That's awesome.
Wow.
You should always be nice, you know. You never know what happens.
Beautiful.
You never know what happens. You really, really don't know. And I was so glad that I spoke to the policeman because, you know, it's like it would not have worked out too well. Anyway, what's the parsha this week, guys?
Yisrael.
Oh, good. Okay, something long top. Okay.
We do
What's the most important part of Yisrael?
Matan Torah.
Matan Torah, the Ten Commandments, okay? So in the Ten Commandments, that's what I'm speaking about that, there are relationships that are discussed. What's a relationship in the Ten Commandments that is discussed? He says, don't be jealous, okay? Because jealousy is a horrible thing in a relationship. A lot of times, how could there be jealousy in a relationship?
Between each other or to other couples?
No.
Being jealous of other
no.
couples or jealous within the relationship?
Within the relationship, you can be jealous, yeah.
Wow.
Why is jealousy such an awful thing?
Because it
Doesn't have any useful function, occupies your mental energy.
That's true. And it's negative and destructive because whenever you're jealous, you can't be happy with yourself. So what makes people feel jealous?
I don't know.
Why do people feel jealous?
Because they tried to get something.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
because they feel they don't feel good about themselves. If you don't feel good about yourself, then you
Insecure.
envy other. Yeah, it's insecurity. So if you feel that other people are better than you in some way or another, what should you do?
Appreciate what you have.
Yes, you really have to, because, you know, if you go around being jealous of other people, you can never get ahead.
You'll never be happy.
You can never be happy, you can never get ahead, and you can never have a good relationship. You can't relate to somebody else if you're always worried about somebody else having a better relationship or more friends or more something or other. So like, you know, that's something that's very important. What's another relationship that's mentioned in Seres HaDibros?
Oh, father and mother.
Honor your father and mother, okay. So what about if your parents don't approve of the way you are behaving?
Ooh.
Run away?
Run away? Okay, you sure you can run away?
Come to
but-
Aliya. That's what Aliya
Come to Aliya, okay.
That's what I meant,
That-
run away to Aliya.
That's very good, okay. But it says you have to respect them. Do you still have to respect them if they don't like the way you're behaving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a mitzvah.
But what if they're vegan?
Oh, that's different. That is
Just
not,
don't
she
respect them if they
said
tell you to go against the law.
Right, okay.
it's against the Torah.
But what if your parents like really don't appreciate you? Why should you still respect them?
I don't know, nothing.
What?
Then you're not
Well, I don't know, you shouldn't.
Yeah, you should. You still should. Because no matter what your parents,
They created you.
they created
voice
you,
of the world.
and they did the best that they could. Everybody does the best that they could. So like, you know, you can't like blame somebody for whatever relationships you have. And if,
They don't know any better.
well, and maybe you don't know any
Can you
better.
repeat
You
what-
have to respect them, and then they will respect you. It's like you can't expect them to accept, no,
Why would they respect you back just because you respect them?
because you're behaving like a mensch. If
You
they
do the
say-
right thing.
You have to be like a mensch no matter what.
Be the change you want to see.
You can't expect them to be respectful of the way you are unless you act like a mensch no matter what. You have to act like the mensch. You
You always
can't,
have to be the bigger man. Or
Yeah.
the
but you have,
better person.
you have to make yourself into a better person, that's right. It's like, you know, you didn't ask to be born, and they didn't ask to get you the way you are either. So it's like, it's like a
My
two-way.
parents were praying for a beautiful son. I got it.
It's true. Alex, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very hard to be a parent. It's not like when you buy a computer or something, it comes with instructions. People get a child and they have no instructions. They do the best they can. And they do the best they can.
Manual, like.
No, it doesn't, unfortunately not. It would be nice if it did. It would be nice. And you know that parents are different to each child? That the way they are with the oldest child,
You know.
they're not the same with the youngest child because they experiment. They're more experienced and they understand
You're
more.
also much older.
Why is the younger child always the most messy?
The most what?
Messed up.
I think it's the oldest one that's often messed up.
Yeah, because they're the test subjects.
Is that?
Yeah, like the oldest one is the one
Always gets
that-
most attention. He's a bachar, he's.
Rabbi, are you the oldest? Oh, you are, okay.
But the oldest
okay.
one can
That
get,
messed up.
the oldest one can end up getting less attention because the attention goes more to the younger ones who need more. So it's like, it's a very debatable issue. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. So in general, in relationships, what does a relationship begin with? What is the most important?
Respect.
Relationship.
Respect.
Okay, but what's most important about,
Communication.
for you to be able to have a good relationship? But before you have a good relationship with anybody, what does it start with?
Love.
For whom? You have to really, really first love yourself. You can't love anybody or relate to anybody until you can accept yourself and love yourself.
When you love yourself too much is
No, too much is not good, but you have to love yourself and appreciate who you are. If you don't love yourself and appreciate who you are, then you can't really love other people, and that's not going to work.
I knew what he said.
So it starts, guys, it starts with that you have to have pride in yourself. No matter who you are or what level you're at, you have to have pride in yourself. And the way you have pride in yourself, you have to know that Hashem made you just the way you are. And that's how you're supposed to be. Like everybody is different. Everybody has different qualities. Everybody has different challenges. Everybody has different abilities. And everybody has different things to accomplish in life. Everybody was placed in this world for a purpose of being the best that he or she can be, because it's not, you can't be like anybody else, and nobody's asking you to be like anybody else. You have to be yourself. So the first thing is that you have to learn to figure out who you are and love yourself and accept yourself. You know, a lot of people they love this kind of thing, that when things go wrong, it's, oh, it was the fault of my father, oh, it was the fault of my mother. They did this and they did that, and you play the blame game all the time. And that never
Fun game.
Never goes down well.
That's the greatest.
That's the greatest.
always
How do you
like
tell
that.
somebody to stop playing the blame?
You
They
just,
love
Get them a new
playing
game.
victim.
because
They love
if you
playing
don't
victim.
stop playing the blame game, you're never going to grow up.
You haven't moved
And
forward.
when you have two brains in your head, did you know that? You have two brains. You have a baby brain in the back of your head, and you have your brain on top of your head where you put your tefillin.
That's Toby. He's sitting on his brain.
A lot of people never get
gonna say that
beyond using their baby brain. They just never grow up, and they just don't
Yes.
want to grow up. So they do the same thing. They go in circles all the time. They go in circles. They go around and around and around and around, and they never get anywhere. Is it good to think a lot?
Is it good to be around those people?
Is it good to think a lot?
Yes.
Healthy thinking.
That's what you're thinking about.
No,
If you think about how you're gonna take over the world and bring shit up, then yeah, think about it a lot.
is that what you think about a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, if you think about that all the time and do nothing else, it's not very good either.
That's like,
I'm sorry.
That's like another extreme.
That's
Think about
right.
it while you're having a productive day, thinking about it in the back of your head.
While you're having a productive day, right. But if you overthink
While you're
and you
playing
spend
guitar
too much
at the
time
phone booth.
contemplating,
Yeah.
you're really not getting anywhere. So the important thing is that you think and plan, but you bring some things into action. If you don't bring things into action, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to work on yourself to get some places. There was this story about Reb Zusha. Who was Reb Zusha?
The singer?
Yes, right. No, there was this big chassid. His name was Reb Zusha. Yes, right. See, he heard the story. And people always used to ask him all kinds of questions, and they said to him, when you come up to the big upstairs and Hashem asks you, you know, you're just a very ordinary man. Why weren't you great like Moshe Rabbeinu? Or why weren't you great like Avraham Avinu? Why is it that you're just who you are? So he said, you know, I'm not afraid if Hashem asks me, why wasn't I like Moshe Rabbeinu? I wasn't born to be Moshe Rabbeinu, so I'm not worried about that. And he says, why weren't you like Avraham Avinu? He didn't make me into Avraham Avinu, he made me into Reb Zusha. But what I'm worried about is he'll say, well, you're the best Reb Zusha you could ever have been. And that's where the crux is. We have to be the best that we can be. We have to make the most of our lives, no matter what stage we are at. And thinking about mistakes that we have made along the way, or whatever, conflicts and things, that's not going to help. Because if we go around in circles and circles and circles, you come back to the same conflict and the same problem and the same everything, and it just wears you down. It just doesn't get you anywhere. So you have to have a very positive outlook, and you have to love yourself.
Beautiful.
So what are the other things that go into a relationship? This young lady was saying she studied the book. So what was
She
it?
wrote the book.
Respect. And who do you have to respect?
Who?
Yourself. You have
And
to
the other person,
respect
no?
yourself and the other person, yes.
First you respect
But
yourself,
if
then you
you,
can respect
if you
someone
don't
else.
respect yourself,
Then you can't
nobody else is going to respect you.
And you can't respect others, you have to.
And you can't, no, but you have to first respect yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, and you don't think that you're a worthwhile person and you have value and importance, then you can't really respect another person, because then all the people around you, you're just going to be jealous of them. Why is that one smarter than me? And why is this one more productive than me? And why is this one like that? And why is this one more talented? And you just keep thinking about that. Everybody is doing better than you, and you don't get anywhere. So it's really important for you to respect yourself, that you're just great the way you are. But you have to make yourself greater. You never stand at a standstill. You have to keep moving all the time. If you stand at a standstill, you go downhill. Why is that?
Why are we at a standstill?
Yeah, if you're at a standstill, why do you go down?
Because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, in a way, it's not like you're really dying, but if you're not growing, you're not developing, you're not getting anywhere. Like I meet people sometimes, that I haven't seen for 10 years, and I'm horrified because they haven't gotten anywhere. They're the same that they were when they were there. They're like mistrusting of people all the time. They're always getting into arguments. They have no patience, etc., etc.
What do you do with those types of people?
You kill them.
Think by the misery.
just gave like a license to do something.
What you do with them
Like
is,
a second opinion.
I think that the most important thing is you work on yourself. And that way you can sort of like be an example to somebody else. Like if you feel that you don't have patience and you lack patience, and you try to improve on having more patience, then maybe people around you will notice it and they'll say, you know what?
But
That's a better way
isn't
to
the
act.
ultimate purpose to bring people closer to Mashiach? And to kind of make people better, well, not only to better yourself, but to also the people around you. To a certain extent, yes.
But you have to make yourself better first. You can't
Lead-
go around
lead
making
by
other
example.
people better.
Lead by being a role model.
Exactly. It begins
Be
and
the
ends
change
with
you want to see
you.
in others.
This doesn't help my situation, but go ahead. Keep telling me good stuff, man.
Well, it should. It should. I think all these people that sit and say they're waiting for Mashiach, they make me a little nervous, because
Yeah.
if you sit and wait and wait
Nothing
and wait,
happens.
nothing is
You're
going
gonna
to
cramp up your
happen.
legs.
Stop waiting, stop bringing it to
Yeah, I mean, like, don't sit there and wait, because the only way Mashiach is going to come is if you become better and you help to make the world a better place. Don't look at the person next to you. Why isn't that person making it better? Why don't you make it better?
You mean she makes me better,
Good. Do you make her better too?
not better food.
No, life is more than food.
you. Not here.
All the Jewish holidays are revolving around food.
That's
Every single
true.
one.
And they also all revolve around family.
Do that. I don't want to.
Yes.
That's why you guys are going away for Pesach.
We are.
Right.
And I think that that's the beauty of Jewish families, that they're very family oriented.
It is.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll sing a niggin just to break it up a little bit.
Okay, this is a good thing for you all to remember. Don't wait and live your life.
What?
Don't wait and
And?
live your life. Like, don't say, next week I'll do this, next month I'll do that, next year I'll do that. Do now what you want to do.
Do it now.
Like if you say you want to learn certain things, you want to grow in certain ways. Do it now. Don't say, I'm going to read these books maybe next year when I feel like it. Or, I need to change my personality. I need to change my habits and change my attitude. I'm too pessimistic. I have to become more optimistic. Maybe next year I'll start to think about that. It's not going to work. You do it now. You have to do it right now. It's whatever you see in yourself that is a shortcoming, that's negative, work on it.
There's a famous joke about a guy a wealthy guy is walking down by a river and he sees a guy fishing. And he says, what are you doing? He says, I'm fishing. Why do you fish? So I can catch fish and eat them. He says, why don't you have two nets so you can get double the fish and catch two? and then you can eat one and sell one. He says, then what do I do? He says, well, when you sell one, you can hire somebody to fish for you, and then you'll get more fish. And he goes, and then what? And then he goes, then you can have a whole company, you can have a whole team of fishermen, and you can have a whole corporation doing fish, catching fish for you, and you can become very wealthy. He says, and then what? Well, he says, and then you can retire. He says, and then what? Then you can go fishing. He says, look, I'm doing it now.
That's right. No, but don't put off anything that you want to do. Like anything that you have plans for. You want to have a career, you want to have a job, you want to do this, you want to do that. Do it now. Like work on it now. Make plans now so that you can see what courses are available, what you can do and things like that. Or if you have any difficult relationships, like I said, with parents or siblings or whatever, don't say, okay, a couple of years from now, then I'm going to relate to them. No, think of ways that you can relate now and keep on building relationships and things, and don't put off things, because that's never good.
There's always a reason to push things off, but
No.
do it now.
And you are responsible for your own happiness.
Oh, big one.
That's scary, right?
That's
It
like
is.
That's like a punch in the heart.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You are responsible for your
guys.
own happiness. Like, this is a scary thing, but a lot of people think that if they get married, then they're going to be happy because somebody else is going to make them happy. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, because you have to be happy with yourself, and then you can be happy with somebody else. But don't expect somebody else to make you happy. Nobody wants to be with a miserable person anyways. Right? Nobody wants to be with someone who's negative. Okay. So the young lady next to me over here was saying that one of the things that are important in marriage is communication. What does what is communication all about? What? What's communication all about?
That's why we text so often.
like respect, no one respecting.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we have
Okay.
Snapchat and Instagram.
See, I think that is going to be a big problem with it. There is a big problem with this generation because they don't know how to
Right,
communicate.
because in order to communicate, both people gotta be healthy, right? Both the husband and wife gotta be emotionally healthy,
Right.
or else they can say communicate, today to tomorrow,
You do.
but they're not gonna communicate because they got issues.
No,
So,
but-
first, you gotta take care of your issues, and then you can communicate.
Right.
I'm married, I know.
Me too.
No, but I think the other thing that's a very big problem
We don't know.
is that people today don't know how to communicate, and you know what else they don't know how to do? They don't know how to listen. People today don't know how to listen because they're used to just having phones and they're always clicking with their little fingers and they're always sending Twitter messages and Facebook messages and all this kind of stuff and junk, and they don't know how to talk. So you can see a married couple walking down the street and each one has their own phone and they're talking to somebody else or texting or something. And that's very, very bad. Very, very bad.
Like when he's here, we act
It's
like,
like, you
no.
have to know how to communicate to
Yeah.
How to communicate to a woman.
You have to know how to communicate, period.
Communicate.
Period.
Right.
To communicate to
Which takes you being
anybody.
healthy,
Yeah.
takes you being emotionally healthy.
Yeah.
You can communicate, then you have to learn how to communicate to a woman, because you can know how to communicate with her.
Yeah, but if you can't communicate to a man, you can't communicate to a woman either.
100%.
Like, I mean, women basically are in many ways like men, so
Huh?
Okay. That's interesting.
believe it or not. Why don't we marry men? Let's not bring up that subject because that's another problem.
It's already problem. You have somebody to play video games with.
Now you tell her?
Yeah, right.
Into marriage. Show yourself.
No, it's people have a problem today with listening. It's very, very obvious. It's like people are so used to just wanting to express themselves, not really express themselves in real language, but just, to get a message out. Guess what I did last night? Guess what I'm doing tomorrow? Guess what I did for dinner? Guess what I'm planning to do? and everything is like, 3-word sentences, but they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to have a conversation. So it's very important to learn to communicate and learn to listen, because it's only when you listen that you can understand things, and that brings about a whole relationship. Okay.
Did you see Benny Friedman's new song? No, it's Eight That, Communicate?
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah, it's about educating
What-
people to
what's-
communicate.
What's the best indication if you are having a good relationship with somebody?
A good indication that you're having.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you're happy, yeah, okay, okay.
What, you can be happy when the other person can just be happy because they want to make you happy.
That the other person also wants to hang out with you,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh, yeah.
Happiness breeds happiness.
What is happiness? Okay, if the other person brings out the best in you and makes you into a better person, then you're on the right track. Somebody has to accept you the way you are and make you feel good about yourself. If somebody doesn't make you feel good about yourself, then it's not the right person. The person has to make you feel that you're A1 okay, and you have to make the other person feel the same way. It's very, very important in a relationship to be able to just make somebody else feel that they're good, somebody's with you, and you just said happy. Happy is when somebody really understands you and appreciates you. That's what makes you happy. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not happy, you're not on the right, you're not really happy. Yeah.
No, but if you're with somebody and you don't feel really good about yourself, then that's not the right
That's
person.
not being abused, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have to feel good about yourself. What?
I don't think happiness is real.
Happiness is what?
Happiness isn't real. I don't think it's a real.
Okay, let him talk. What do you mean?
It's like, it looks like it's something, but it's nothing. It's like the wind blowing. You feel it and it's gone. It's not there.
That's moments of happiness or extreme happiness, but it's maybe contentment. It's a contentment. You're at peace. You're at peace with yourself and you're at peace with life. So what makes a red flag is if you feel insecure. If you are with somebody and that person makes you feel insecure in some way, that person makes you feel that you're not up to the standards that they want in whatever way, then that's not good.
What do you mean it's a
Because-
red flag? What does that mean?
Okay,
Maybe it's a red flag for you to prove to realize, hey, there's something
you
I
know
think
what?
to my wife.
The person that you marry is not gonna change. They're gonna change slightly, but they're not gonna change necessarily the way you want them to change. So you have to make sure that you can accept them completely the way they are when you marry them. You don't marry them and then say, in 5 years from now, he's going to be a Talmud Chacham.
Right,
Maybe
so
he'll never be a
Right, so
Talmud
that goes back to
Chacham.
what I was saying before about communicating. The person could be hurting their spouse with words because they simply don't know how to communicate. They don't know that. They don't know how to talk to a woman. They don't know how to talk to a man. They don't know that hurts the person. It's not a
Right.
flag, really. They need to be taught how to communicate. If they,
But
if they knew
see-
that hurt that person, they.
Right, so if
And they
they,
might feel bad about it.
so if they hurt a person, that means they're insecure and they don't really love themselves to begin with. Because if you love yourself, you don't go around hurting people. It's only when you feel insecure.
Yeah, if it's straight out hurting somebody, okay, I understand. Sometimes there's certain things you say, it hurts a woman specifically because they take things a certain way. That's already.
That's
I'm not talking
true.
about that. I don't know.
You know, years ago, we were told to read a book before we got married. It was called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Female part?
Isn't that guy divorced?
Now-
What? Maybe,
Yeah.
but the truth of the matter
After
is
he wrote the book.
that men and women come from a different source. Men and women are not the same.
Right.
They're different species.
Women are
They're
ribs,
different species. What?
right? Women are from the ribs.
So you're agreeing with the book or the book is?
No, it's very true that women are much more sensitive and women are much more passionate.
Well,
Yes.
lady,
And
it's a great book by
But
Trump book.
it is a very good book. But if you really feel secure, then you see that somebody's not happy, you'll be compassionate and you'll understand them. But if you're insecure yourself, you can't do that.
Everybody's
That's the-
somewhat insecure, so everybody that
Well,
not
so
to marry that person or
a little bit insecure, but a lot of insecurity is very dangerous. Very dangerous. People that are really insecure, they will go and try to control somebody else's behavior, or they will be aggressive and all kinds of things. So, lack of trust, that's a red flag. If you feel that you can't totally trust another person, and you can't really believe what they say or believe what they do, that's a big, big dangerous thing. You have to really be able to trust somebody. And that goes for friendship with men and women and women. You know, a real friend is somebody that you know is going to be there for you. They're not going to listen to you, hear your stories and hear your complaints and then go behind your back and laugh at you. It's going to be somebody who really you can trust and depend that they really care about you. And I think that you have to get smart, and you have to, girls especially have to be smart. They have to look for all kinds of things when they go out. They have to make sure that the person is not, doesn't have a controlling behavior or is aggressive and so on. And you see that through body language.
you're saying women, shouldn't men look just as hard?
Oh, absolutely.
No, because usually abusers are men more than women.
Totally disagree.
Really?
Okay, but it's not your upbringing. It's
No.
This is her stage, man. You gotta listen. That's all. Jesus.
Well, the truth of the matter.
Donald Trump will kick you out right now, man. Donald Trump will kick your ass
Thank
out here.
you, thank you.
She's nice,
You got the right attitude, right.
Now, just listen to okay, mama, okay?
No, I think when it comes to controlling, no, you can have controlling women too, yeah.
I'm happily single. Okay?
You know, anyone that tries to control somebody else's behavior is a very dangerous red flag. Because you have to be able to breathe and be who you are. And anyone who wants to control you and change you, and then is going to undermine you and criticize you because you're not living up to their standards, that's not a good situation. And you should never be involved with people that your friends disapprove of or your family disapproves of. Because if you have good friends and family members and they love you, they will see if you're in a healthy relationship or not. And you should be aware of that, because not all relationships are healthy or are good.
What about conflicts between parents and spouses?
Parents and spouses, that's a very difficult situation, really. That can be very difficult, and if it's unreasonably difficult, I would move to another place. I would absolutely create a distance. There's no point in having somebody, you know, try to interfere with your marriage by disapproving. No.
Radisson, you
Yeah.
don't wanna address what I asked before because I'm meeting people.
Go ahead.
No, because I meet a lot of people on a regular basis where it's the exact opposite.
Where the woman is the abuser.
Highly. Yeah.
No, it's.
I know too many people.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure, you know, no, all of this thing I was saying before, all of this thing comes from a certain amount of insecurity. When you want to control somebody else, is because you yourself, you're not happy with yourself. So when you're not happy with yourself, you want to control the other
Makes
person.
sense.
100% true.
Yeah.
And-
It's just like when you wake up in the middle of the day and you're trying to catch up and you're upset because you're stressing and you can't actually be happy. You're always trying to. But when you wake up early and you control the day, you're
Right.
happy.
That's right.
She's saying there's a woman that is insecure,
Controlling,
herself,
whatever.
not happy. She will be controlling and
She will be controlling and she will be, you know, the B word, yeah.
No?
She will really, she will
Be tough
become.
on
Chas
she will-
v'shalom.
Yeah,
Little
she,
salt.
women, see, but it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's like if a husband is not compassionate to the wife and he doesn't show warmth and affection,
Like,
that
nobody
she
asked
can,
what I
that she
articulate,
can
huh?
retaliate by being
He's not
very
gonna get
contr-
anything in return.
What?
He's not gonna get anything in return.
He's not gonna get
The way
anything.
you want your spouse to act.
No, but I
you
think,
have to
I
act
think,
for them.
is it fair to say that the guy sets the tone a little bit, or no?
Yeah.
Not in my house.
I
That's
think-
according to Arush, you know that book Arush, the Gate of
You know,
Peace?
I think that both people set the tone. There's
Yeah.
never a one that sets the tone.
In Robert Lane's book, he says each one has to give 100%.
That's right. And I think in a
Yes,
way
yeah, the
though,
guy-
and I think in a way though, the woman sets the tone more because the woman is like, she breathes the atmosphere in the house. So like if she is in a bad mood and you open the door, you get bad vibes as soon as you walk in.
Go
You
bad
just
vibes.
feel
But then you say that's from the
anger.
man. You can also say that's from the man. With the man.
No.
No, but the man is not in the house.
Exactly.
Like who
You're married to a
creates,
woman, right?
who
Huh?
creates a home? Like who furnishes the home and who decides
female.
what should
Right.
be in the house? It's the
Right.
woman.
Right.
Who chooses the colors and things like that? Who chooses what furniture to get? It's
Yeah,
the
that's
woman.
what she's trying to say, that she controls the house.
She controls the house.
Counter table.
So when you walk into a house,
And where-
you feel the presence of the woman far more than the presence of the man. You really do. I mean, you walk into a house on a Friday night and you open the door, the way the table is set and the way everything is
Yeah,
done,
it's the woman.
that's the woman. And you feel the vibes, there's no question. You open the door, you feel, you know? You
Yeah.
can feel it. The man doesn't, the man
controls the
doesn't,
head, the woman controls the neck, that's all.
that's right.
That
No.
comes from you too, the way she sets up the house, if she's, right?
I think it's
Her
very
mood.
important, for example, a big problem in marriage usually is finances. Like if there isn't enough money to go around and the family is growing and things, then it depends on how the woman can deal with it and how the man can deal, you know what I'm saying? So like if the woman feels that she's not being satisfied as far as finances go, and maybe you can't do anything about it, then at least satisfy her in other ways and make her life as happy as you can. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you get shortchanged in different ways, forget about it.
Yeah, you gotta compensate.
You gotta compensate, exactly, yeah. I think being a man is not that easy because you have to understand that women have mood swings.
Thank you.
Well,
Wish it was.
Someone understands us.
But one advantage I think I see a lot, and I don't know if I'm stereotyping too much, but I think that when the man is the abuser, the woman has less opportunity to escape the abuse
Yeah.
than it's the other way
That's
around.
right.
I think that when the woman is the abuser, the man has more opportunities to escape the abuse than a woman would
there
have.
needs more woman out
If
there.
it was
The
reversed.
woman as an abuser is usually verbal.
Right,
The man can get physical.
right.
Right.
It's very rarely that the
Verbal
woman is
abuse
physically abusive.
is also, you know, not,
Or emotional abuse.
yeah, emotional abuse, right,
It's much worse than physical abuse.
Well, it depends. If
Emotional abuse,
yeah.
psychological abuse is way more than
It depends if you're still having events, yeah.
And most people
I
that
know physical, I know a woman hitting their spouses too.
It's more of like an insecure thing.
Yeah, a lot of people are insecure.
Honestly,
It
no,
still
people that are
comes back
hungry, they need to
to-
make
No, they don't hit.
themselves
They
bad.
don't
It still comes back to starting with that you have to love yourself and accept yourself. And if you're not emotionally mature or healthy, so that you know who you are and you're happy with who you are, then you can't have a good relationship. You know? If you're like always having doubts about your capabilities or you're envious of other people or things like that, and you know, you're always looking at to see that one has a fancier house and that one has a bigger this and things like that.
What do you do? What do you do from that story?
You learn,
Be
no,
happy with yourself.
you learn to be happy with yourself, exactly.
Because then you never be happy. You
No.
die trying.
No, that's what we're saying, that, you know, it says in the Aseret Adibris that jealousy is like something that we can't have. You can't covet what others, you can't want what somebody else has. Because once you live with that principle, then your life just sours up. I'm going to tell you
I
a
honestly
very
tell you.
special story that I'm sure you will remember, and that this story, I hope, will enrich your life, okay? And that's my yechidus with the Rebbe about love.
Wow.
And I don't know anybody else who had a Yepidus like I did. I really don't. So it's not written down anywhere because it was a personal thing. It was on a one-to-one conversation, and that's what it is. So I have written it down, and it has been read by many people and so on. And I think it's worth your while to listen to it, even when it's like Mr. Russell. So I was very young. I was very, very young. I was in my teens, and that was the first time I had to do this with the Rebbe. So anyone that had the privilege of having to do this with the Rebbe, one huge factor about him that everybody would remember is his ability to listen. He could sit and he would just look at you. When he looked at you, he could look right through you. He could look right into you. He had always had eye contact, complete eye contact. And he would sit very patiently, like at the table like this. He would, very patient, very relaxed. And he would just look at you and he would listen to every word that you said. And not only would he listen to every word you said, but if you saw him again, he would remember the exact same things. So I came to see him, and first time I met him, I came with my mother, and my mother was asking a lot of different, he was talking to my mother about a lot of different things. And then I thought he wasn't even going to talk to me, but then he turned to me and he started to ask me, what kind of hobbies I had, about my friends, about the things I'm doing, what I'm studying and things like that. And I saw that he was listening, like really, really listening. How well he listened, I didn't know until the second time that I saw him, because the next time when I saw him, when I came in, he could start the conversation off exactly where you had left off. Like I might have forgotten exactly what we had been talking about, but he would like bring it right back as if it had happened the day before. And it could be months later, but he kept track of it so completely that he could just hone right in on it.
And this is without any emails, or
Without
text messages, WhatsApps.
without any emails, without any
It's
notes,
all
without
in the
any
brain.
papers.
Nobody wrote it down.
Nothing.
Over, wow.
Nothing.
I don't remember what I told you a month ago. though.
But it's not the end of the story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. That's what you call setting the picture.
Yeah.
And then you hone in on the details.
That was good. That was
Okay, so then he started asking me again about my friends and things like that. And then he said, you told me the last time you were here you liked to read. See, I lived in an era where people liked to read. And reading was a big thing. I grew up in Scandinavia.
Whoa.
So yeah, my father was a Rav in Scandinavia.
That's
Sent
cool.
by the Friedrich Rebbe.
Good
So
Lord.
wintertime,
You're talking to the Rebbe right now, right?
what?
Yes, yes.
So this is all in English?
In Scandinavia.
No, I think it was Yiddish. I think it was Yiddish.
What is Scandinavia?
Scandinavia is in the most northern part of Europe. So in Scandinavia, in the wintertime, the nights are very, very long. So you read a lot because it gets dark like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Serious?
Wow.
And in the summertime, the days are very, very, very long. So like Shabbos ends like 1 o'clock at night because of daylight saving.
Today's
It's supposed to be
day?
12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 o'clock afternoon gets dark in other places in the world.
Shabbos
Yeah,
is at 1 o'clock.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's the way it goes, okay? So,
Did not
yeah.
know that.
Month of
So-
Shabbos is 2 p.m.
the weather in
You
the,
liar, really?
the weather in the summer there is like, it's not so many hot days. So what do? You read a lot because it's not warm enough to go swimming all the time. So the Rebbe said to me, you told me the last time you were here you like to read. And I said, yes, I do. He said, so what kind of books do you like to read? And one thing for sure, when you spoke to the Rebbe, you told the truth. So I wasn't going to say I like to read historical documents, or I like to,
Like to read dragon books.
whatever. So I, what?
You don't
Dragon
want to,
books.
You don't want to tell the Rebbe that you read your
No,
own
she like,
So, no,
you
so
like
I
to read
said-
your love novels.
I said I like to read novels. And he said to me, and I want you to listen to this very carefully because this is the lesson that remains for all of us here. So he said, novels are in the category of fiction. Novels don't portray real life. Novels just tell you an imaginary thing, but that's not what life is like. So what you read in a novel is not what real life is like. And then he went on to explain to me what real love was, okay? Oh, no, first he started to ask me, before he did that, first he said to me, are you dating? And I said, yes, I was. And then he said, a name of a certain bocher, and he said, what do you think of this bocher? And I said, I met him and he was very nice. I'm kind of like uncomfortable because like how did he think of a name of somebody that I gone out with, you know? And then he asked about a second one and the same thing. I said, he's very, very nice, but not for me. And by the time he came to the fifth or sixth one, and this is without a paper or anything, he knew every person I had gone out with.
Oh my gosh.
And how did he know that? Because I didn't know that. I lived in Boston. I didn't know that every bocher before he went out went to the Rebbe to say, should I go out for that? So he said, whoever asked him, he said, yeah, sure, go out with her. You know?
And when he told him you read novels, he's like, that's why it's not working out.
What were the novels? He didn't like novels. Was it good? Yes. Positive, negative.
No, you were just saying it's not real life.
Novels don't portray what real life
Right,
is
so
like.
you shouldn't want to
So
read a
then,
novel.
so then, you know, but I didn't know that. So like after he said all these names, so then he said to me, so I will tell you, what you read in the novel is not what life
Oh,
is
so
really
you shouldn't
like.
read a novel.
He didn't say that.
No, but
Don't
if you
see
find a
people-
girl in a novel, don't think.
No, people like to change
Right.
his words. And somebody once wrote about what the Rebbe had said to me, and they said the Rebbe told her not to read novels. And I said, the Rebbe would never have done that. Because if he had done that, I probably would not have wanted to communicate with him again. Because I would feel that he didn't understand what I enjoy doing.
Right.
And if he negated that, then I couldn't really commit myself to him. So no, he never said that. He said it doesn't portray real life.
So let's hear the
And then he explained what love was, and he said that love begins with just a little spark. It means you meet somebody and you see this person and you say, oh, I think I would like to meet them again. I enjoyed being with them. And that's it, nothing more than that. And then you go out the second time and that little spark is pretty much the same. You go out a couple of times and the spark gets a little bit stronger. And you say, you know, I really enjoy spending time with this person. It's just a matter of you're just communicating, you're just talking, you're getting to know the person, and you feel like that there is something there. And then he says, when you take the step and you make a commitment that you're going to marry this person, then that spark becomes much stronger. Because now you make a commitment, it's like a tie already.
A what?
It's like a tie.
Yeah,
You
like a
already,
knot.
you committed, you're beyond that. And then eventually like, okay, time goes on and you get married. And then he says, throughout marriage, with the everyday activities of every day of earning a living and making meals and sharing and caring and raising a family and everything else, these feelings grow stronger and stronger. And then at the end, there comes a point where instead of it being you and me, it becomes we and us. And you become so bonded that you feel that your lives are totally intertwined. And that's what real love is. So,
Love that.
I love it. I
you love it? See, everybody loves it. And it actually said that to me many, many years ago, but it's as true today as it was then. And so young people think that when they go out and they meet a girl and they see sparks, they do, somebody hits them over the head. They see sparks. But if they see a lot of sparks, then it's not good. They're not thinking and they're not focusing. So it's not a healthy kind of thing. That's the way, that's what you see in the novels, that he was trying to bring out. Yeah.
What is it like?
So after how many did you with your husband?
Well, I had to let my husband, I think I did meet my husband then. Actually, no, my husband was in New York and I was in Boston, so it took a longer time because we weren't in the same city.
Oh, okay.
Was it the way the Rebbe described?
Yeah. It's like the relationship that you have the first year when you're married, it sounds like that's an exciting year. It's actually a very difficult year because you're getting used to being married and living with another person. And it's not as simple as you think, and it's not all fun and roses. It takes time till you get on to understand each other and everything else.